So I'm starting a project. I'm going to build a Polebarn style carport. It's going to be a lean-to, so it'll just have a slant going to the back. And I bought these metal trusses. So these are 20-foot long trusses. So on the front end, it will attach to the post, and it's got the cups on them to hold the roof joist. And on the back side, it's going to have a 18-inch overhang for the water to run off. And I've got metal roofing that I've had delivered, so I've got metal roofing to go on the back. My roof joists are not treated, so I've got them covered up under this plastic until I'm ready to use it. And I've laid out roughly the size here. I've laid out got 6x6 posts, and then the roof, the trusses are going to attach like that to each one. And on this side, so on this side, it's got a hanger to sit on the top, so you can kind of see the metal kind of sits on the post on the back. I wish both sides did that. That'd make it a little bit easier to hang these. But these were probably designed to be bolted up for an A-frame style roof. So another one would come up and butt up to that one to make the other side. So I'm just gonna have to bolt this one on and then set the back one on the top. So that's the way we're gonna do it. And it's gonna be basically a 2-car carport, kind of back on this back corner of this lot. So got a couple of trees fixing to come down off to the right here, and I'm gonna set that this carport right here on this back corner. So I've been planning it out for a while and trying to figure out how to set these posts and get these metal trusses. These metal trusses are a little bit heavier than I thought they was going to be. I ordered them from a metal company, and if you look, these are made with pretty heavy angle iron. I thought these would be made of a little bit thinner metal and it'll be a lot lighter. A few of the carports I've kind of seen online that people build with these metal trusses, not this heavy duty. So this is I'm sure they make these for real pole barns, for big pole barns. So this is solid. This is a lot heavier than I thought. These 6x6 posts, ordered a 15-foot, which the actual size is a little shorter than that. Got a 6 posts, so it'll have a center beam, 2 outside beams. I'll just bring you along as I figure out how to set the posts and figure out the dimensions. Laying it on the ground. So I'm back working on the carport project, and we've put this off for several months now, and everything's just kind of growing up around our stuff. So it's time to get going on it. I laid out my string and marked where the center of the post needs to be. So, and then did the same thing on the other side. So just ran a string, set my marks where the posts need to be, and between this line and the one in the back is 20 feet. And so when I set my post, I'm going to dig a hole big enough for the post and some concrete to go all the way around it, and then I'm going to get it level. And then the back one, I'm just going to put it right in front of that. I'm going to move these. I just put this here for the line, so I'm going to move these back, and I'm just going to line the 2 posts up that way and set them. So I've already got one done. So I started with the one on the right side. So you can kind of see, dug the hole, probably a little too big, took a lot more concrete than I thought, but got it set in there, got it level, and then did the same for the back. So this part's pretty easy, just digging the holes. If you got an auger, ain't no big deal at all. So I set my posts and leveled them up, and then so it's pretty much right on the line, but I checked the measurement before I cemented them in, make sure it was 20 foot. So they're 20 foot apart, so it should fit just fine when I'm ready to hang them. And that's where I'm at now, just digging holes and getting these posts set. So on these posts, I just laid them out right up on the edge of the hole, and then two of us just got at the end and walked it up, and it just went right down in the hole. So it wasn't a big deal. Two people can walk them up from the ground and stand them up in the hole. So that wasn't too bad. And this kind of, you can see how I dug the hole. You kind of have to dig it a little bit out. So the post is going to set on this side, so I left a little room for some concrete to go around the back side of that. Had to dig it a little bigger on this side to get down in there, and there's roots to dig out, so it just makes the hole bigger than what I wanted it to be. I put a little concrete in the bottom, and it's been setting up for a couple of days, and that's just to give that post something rigid to sit on. I don't know if that's necessary, but I just did. I think that's about 4 shovels full of some wet concrete. And the same on the back, just kind of dig the hole out. There's more roots in this one, so it's bigger than it should be, but it's gonna work. We're gonna make it work. This is just all grown up around here, so we haven't been able to get a mower back because we've got all this ready to do the job. But once we get going and get all this material up and out of the yard, we'll be able to get back here and get a mower in here and get this cleaned up back here. So I'm back out here working on this Polebarn style carport, and we've got the first truss up and the second truss up. So I'll just kind of explain a little bit how we got to this point. I went to the back post and I measured up how high I wanted the back to be, and then cut that post off at that mark. And so on the front post, measures up a little higher. So I worked on this side first because this is the highest. The ground slopes from right to left, downhill to the left. So I started with this post and these 2 posts, and I went ahead and mounted this truss. So when I marked that mark to the height that I wanted, so on the high side, this will be the lowest point under the carport. So I made sure it was high enough for this one, and then I ran a level line. So I took a chalk line and I stretched it tight, and I marked, I checked it with a level to make sure it was level going that way, and marked my next 2 posts from the level of this back one on the right. So that's going to be my guide post, and everything else is going to be level to that. Same way with this, I went ahead and mounted the truss because it seemed a little higher than what I originally planned for, but that was okay. So I just got this one to where it was set correctly, perpendicular with the post. That flat face was flat to the post, and went ahead and mounted it. And so at the bottom, I just measured down 1 inch so I'd have room to put a line. So I put the chalk line 1 inch lower than the bottom and just ran it the same way from across, and made each post level with this one. So that way when I set my post, I know where they need to land. I mean my trusses, so I'll know where they need to land. And this one I had a little trouble with because the bottom seemed, the face was a little bit bent out. Either that or the back was a little off. Either way, I got it on there, but the bottom bolt didn't want to quite meet up with the post. but it's plenty sturdy. I'm not concerned about that. And so then the last post, one more to do. But what I would recommend, these are heavy and kind of hard to handle, and you know, just seems a little dangerous trying to hoist these up. I would recommend getting somebody with a piece of equipment that can lift these up. If you're gonna do this, maybe a tractor with a chain or some sort of lifting piece of equipment. You could probably rent one from a equipment rental. But that's the way to go, and that would just be so much safer than trying to do these by hand. But got one more post to do, so I just have to got my marks measured, and I'm gonna cut that down and raise the truss up on the other side. That's where we're at now. Once I get these trusses on, I'm gonna cut the top post off a little bit. So I've got a line marked there for where I'm gonna cut those off before I start putting my roofing on. And probably do later put in like a little front facing to keep the rain from blowing in. But I don't have that material now. I'll have to get that done later. So just a little progress. It's taking a little longer than I thought, but we're getting it done. So I got my last truss hung, and this is all dirty. This has been sitting in the yard for a couple of months, but I'm gonna go back and pressure wash all this down. But I just want to show you how these roof joists are gonna go in. That's what I'm calling them. 2 screw holes on each side of the metal cup that holds them. So 4 screws on each truss. And so what I did, I'm just this is my next truss roof joist going in, and I just stand it up and pop it up right there, and then get at the back of the board and just walk it up, slide it on, and it's going on pretty easy. I'm able to do this part by myself. So I think I've worked on this about, I don't know, 35-40 minutes or something. Then got these 5 installed, and just keeping on moving on. This part's going quick. So as I'm setting these roof joists in, I'm pushing them all the way to the right side, and I'm lining up the right side. So I just measure from here out, and I just kind of measured the whole board and figured out what would be even overhang on both sides. And so I just put it in there, and I just measure once. So this is the board I start screwing on, and so I just measure it, get it level to the length that I want it, screw it in, then go down to the next one. And I noticed something while I was up here. I don't know if this is going to show you or not, but that middle truss, these trusses have these little cups down here, right in the middle of the length. And this one and the one at the very end line up together, but the one in the middle is off. It's set like right here. So I don't know what these are for. I don't know if these are like run a metal beam in so you can hook like a pulley up to them and have like a lift in your shop if you're using these for like a barn. If somebody knows, let me know what these cups right here would be for. But if I want to use that one, I'm gonna have to cut that tab off and move it over. So that middle one I fought with to get it put in, because that end was not straight. So I don't know if maybe that was like the first one they made after lunch on Friday, or the first one they made on Monday morning, or what the deal was. But that one's off. That one's off in more ways than one. I thought it was just me not knowing what I was doing, but I don't know, I see that wrong with it, and all the others went in just fine. So I'm not too worried about it though, because I've never had that intention of using this as maybe a pulley attachment. But if somebody knows, let me know, because I'm kind of interested in that. So in keeping with everything else that is this middle truss, the first cup, the offset from the face back, is different than the other two. So this one is messed up in that way too. And also the holes were a 1/4 inch off from the other two. So I measured one. I think I measured 2 for the holes, to drill the holes, and the other 2 lined up. That one didn't. It was off by a 1/4 inch. So I don't know. So if you're gonna buy these, you might want to go out and actually see the ones you're getting. You know, I guess people build a pole barn, they don't really care if, you know, a couple of them's, you know, an inch off. But I can see that from the ground that middle board is pushed in quite a bit more than the one on the back, the one on this side. So yeah, I'm not happy with it, but I'm kind of stuck with it. I'm not gonna untack it and move it and re-weld it, 'cause it's just not worth it. I'm hoping that later on down the road I'll just make a front facer, and it won't be noticeable, hopefully. But overall, you know, we're working on it, getting it done. These last couple of boards are really going slow, fighting that thing, and then just the higher you get, the more up and down the ladder you got to go. So just about done with these boards. So I'm on the last step, getting that roofing put on, those roof panels. And the way I'm doing it is I'm just dragging each panel up to this ladder, and then it takes 2 people to just get up on each side of the front of it and just set it up on this ladder as high as we can get it, and then just kind of work it up to where it gets to the top, and then just get at the very end of it and push it until it gets up and sits flat on the top. So you can kind of see how that's going on. Then I'm coming to this side on this ladder and just walking up and just kind of turning it, pulling it, getting it off the ladder, and just climbing up there and placing them. And it's going pretty quick. Screwing all the screws is slowing me down. So just the overhang. I left the overhang on the back as minimal as possible. You can see there's just a sliver there of roofing. And then on the front side, which is not real even. So it's starting to run out a little bit on this one because it's obviously not square. But that's alright. Trying to keep it pretty level on the front. So the front looks pretty straight. It's looking fine to there. Alright, just a few more panels to go. Alright, so I'm up here. Got this next roof panel up. I just kind of put it at the edge right there. I start at the top, and I'll go ahead and get the top right beside the seam, tack down, and then I kind of work my way each joist, and then as I'm going down, put a couple extras in the panel beside it as I work my way down. But I've kind of down near the middle to towards the back, I haven't got many screws done in there. I'll have to go back and kind of fill in all that open space back in there with more screws. Right now I'm just getting the top or the seams tacked all the way down, and then just kind of making sure the top's all the way across and the bottom's all the way across, and then get the next panel on and kind of fill in a few on my way down. So that's the way I'm working this, and got 2 more panels after this one. So it's the hottest day probably of the year, but at least I've got some shade back here in the back corner of this yard. It's about 2:30 in the afternoon, so I'm probably just gonna finish this day out putting screws in as much as I can. My help's gone for putting another roof panel up, and so probably have to do these other 2 tomorrow, because this evening is going to be even hotter than it is now, I think, all the way up to dark. But we're getting it done, and almost to the finish line. Alright, got the roof installed. Got it all screwed down. I'm definitely not a professional, so if I was doing this as a job, I would have to take my time and do that a little better. But I learned it's for myself, so it's gonna be a nice carport. So for me, just got to clean this roof off a little bit. Probably don't have to, but probably gonna wash off the dirt just to get it looking nice, and then get everything cleaned up around it. Be done. And on this side, I've intentionally left a little space for a little lean-to, so in the future I can add on to this and have a little lean-to, maybe for that boat if it'll fit, or maybe jet skis in the future, or maybe a small car. But I've left room on this side to add on if I need to. Do it on the other side, but I'm not planning on that. So I got my boats in here. This is what I built it for, to put my boats in, keep them under cover, and then having a little extra room either on the side or in the middle for the mowers. So I got plenty of room to get it all in there. And even though it's a little taller than I wanted, even with this boat, I was wanting to be able to raise the top while it was in there, the little bimini top, and so I could access the engine bay. But I'm gonna have to pull it out a little bit because it's still a little too short where it's sitting. But got them under cover. If I build that little front facer on the front edge, it's going to give me a little bit more room to pull them up a little closer to the front without rain getting in them. But this is going to keep them dry. It's a nice project. I enjoy building it, and it should last a long time.